Hi everybody, I'm Brianna and this is Winnie. I am a shamanic witch here on Vancouver Island, and that is my little assistant, my familiar Winnie. And today we are bringing you a video about 13 tips to help inspire you on your witchcraft path. So before we jump into the 13 tips for beginner witchcraft, I really want to share my other resources with you first. I am the head witch of Soul and Celine, which is an online witchcraft community that I created. You can find my website at soulandceline.com, and I also have an Instagram and of course this channel as well. On my website I have a spell book, aka a blog, where I post a lot of inspiration and witchcraft things, and I also have shamanic witchcraft healing sessions and coaching and all of that good stuff. So if that interests you and you want to join our online coven and get your free guide to elemental magic, those links are in the description box for you below. So let's dive into the 13 tips that I have for you today. Tip number 1 is to learn. Read books, take classes, watch videos, seek new experiences, and ask questions. Begin learning what you can so that you can gain more knowledge and confidence in the things that you potentially value. As well, don't limit yourself to things labeled as just witchcraft. There's so much value in learning about things other than just witchcraft, because your craft itself is going to encompass a lot of different things that will ultimately create the craft for yourself. So for example, learn about things like moon cycles, Wicca, paganism, ascension energy, masculine and feminine energy, the signs of spiritually awakening. Learn about different aspects of things that you like or that interest you so that you can begin to get to know yourself more and begin to build your repertoire of knowledge. At the same time, take your time to learn and release the need to know everything. This is a mistake that I made on my path. At the beginning of my journey, I really started to collect information and books and experiences and classes and things like that. I was literally collecting information and not absorbing all of it or integrating all of it, and that resulted in me not learning my lessons as well as I could have and repeating old cycles. And so learn from yourself and your mistakes and your awareness as well. Tip number 2 is to find mentors. Find anyone that you can begin to learn with and that you connect with. A mentor can be literally anyone, like an author, a thought leader, even an influencer, or someone that you apprentice under. The word mentor can really encompass a lot of different things, but just find people that inspire you and that you want to learn from, and that can really help you expand yourself and your awareness and your craft. A mentor really doesn't need to be someone that you know specifically in person. It can be someone that you just learn from online and that you might not even ever have a one-on-one conversation with. For example, on my path, I did have an in-person mentor that I apprenticed under for 4 to 5 years, but in addition to that, I also had mentors online that I learned from, took classes from, who I never even had a one-on-one conversation with. So the way that a mentor can really show up for you is really all-encompassing. Also, don't be afraid to let your mentors change and shift as you change and shift. As you grow, the ideas that you have about the mentors that you want to have in your life in those present moments will begin to shift. So try not to keep yourself attached to your past ways and your past mentors. Really let yourself evolve, and you might even come back to them when the time is right. Tip number 3 is to journal. Journaling is such an amazing way to record our experiences and to reveal and heal. For many witches, having things like grimoires, spell books, and books of shadows are really, really helpful for them, because it allows them to have a place for their workings, for the things that they're learning, their introspections, for their pressed flowers, and for their spell work, and for their moon work, anything that they are learning or that they are creating. Those types of journals are really helpful for witches. Another journaling technique for witches is, and something that I do, is elemental journaling. I have different journals for each element. And when I'm going out into nature or I'm experiencing an element, I'll grab that journal and record things, I'll draw things, I'll save things like flowers or leaves or anything like that. And so I have an elemental journal that really tracks my introspections about that element. You don't have to do what I do. You don't have to have an individual journal for each element, but journaling about the elements is a really, really great way to begin to connect with nature and really get to understand and download the wisdom that she is sharing with you. Tip number 4 is to discover the wheel of the year. Begin learning about the different equinoxes, solstices, and sabbats. Whether you are a practicing pagan or not, the beauty of the wheel of the year lives within all of us because it is nature and we are nature. When we observe the cycles of the earth, we really get to know her more deeply, and then we also get to understand her language more clearly. And when we speak the language of the earth, we actually unlock our own potential expansion and magic. Learning the cycles of the earth and moving more into alignment with her will also help you connect with her more empathically, which will help you create a deeper understanding of unity consciousness. So, what are some of the ways that you can begin discovering the wheel of the year? You could create a seasonal journal, you could read the almanac, get to know the moon and her tides, do sun and moon magic, celebrate the 8 Sabbats, you could observe the seasons without judgment, or you could connect with the weather and her elements and get to know those parts deeper, which brings us into tip number 5 is connect with nature and her elements. So this tip kind of goes hand in hand with tip number 4, learning to discover the wheel of the year. But it's really, really important for witches to connect with the earth and really cultivate that relationship. Connecting with her will allow you to connect deeper within yourself, learn to understand and witness the magic that lives within you, and also help you to download the wisdom and the magic of the entire universe. When we are in nature, distraction-free, we are really reminded that we are not alone on this journey. There's so much magic and wisdom and knowledge within the nature spirits that really help us to unlock our own potential. Connecting with nature can look like a myriad of different things, but trying to do it distraction-free is really, really helpful and will take you really far. So connecting with nature can look like going outside or foraging for flowers and herbs that you're learning about, creating a garden, or if you are really limited, it could even look like taking care of your houseplants and your crystals, things like that. Connecting with the elements can look like that journaling that we just chatted about, and it can even look like exploring different forms of divination. As well, doing earth magic is such a beautiful way to connect with nature and to connect with the abundance of the earth that really lives within inside of you. I've actually written a pretty all-encompassing earth magic spellbook post on my website, so definitely go check that out. There is a link for you down below. Tip number 6 is spells are not everything. And the reason that I say this is that a lot of the witchcraft content that is online is really saturated with spell work and kind of witchcraft aesthetic around spell work. And these are all things that I love to enjoy myself, but the truth is that there is so much more to witchcraft than just spell work, and a witch's craft is not limited to only spell work. Witchcraft is also about reclaiming your power, healing your wounds, and also expanding your consciousness so that you can be a more clear channel to your higher self. A lot of the times spells are used to manifest or gain a specific outcome, but those spells are not going to be helpful or fruitful if you don't do all of the back end work as well. There are often blocks that need to be revealed within us, belief systems that need to be transformed, shadows that need to be revealed, and energy that needs to be released from within us in order for our spell work to actually manifest. And so really keep this in mind when you are exploring the witchcraft content out there as a beginner witch. There's a lot that goes into a spell. It is not about instant manifestation like you see in TV and the movies, of course. So I just really wanted to say this part because there's so much more to spellcraft, and witchcraft is not all about spells. The visitor. Hello. Tip number 7 is that you don't need a bunch of stuff. Having a collection of cool witchcraft bits and bobs is really fun, but it's not necessary at all. So if you're just starting out and you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed because all of the witchy influencers, including myself, have a lot of cool witchcraft stuff like cauldrons and crystals and oils and potions and all that kind of stuff, just know that we have been collecting those things for a really long time. And again, you really don't need to actually buy anything to have cool things. You can find things around your house and in nature that can become a part of your craft. I have a lot of witchy things, but I started collecting my witchcraft stuff about 10 years ago. I also worked for a company that made witchcraft products, and I also in the past spent a lot of money that I did not have collecting witchy things. So prioritize yourself and your relationship and connection with nature, and all of the ingredients that you need will come into your life when you need them. Tip number 8 is to expand your consciousness. Expanding your consciousness means making an internal shift to waking up to the truths of your soul, the world, and the universe. Waking up and expanding your consciousness also means becoming aware that you have been operating on automatic based on learned unconscious behaviors, and that aspects of your soul and your magic have been either intentionally or unintentionally suppressed. When you become aware of these truths and really start to do the work to expand your consciousness, you will unlock unlimited potential within yourself. You will move more into alignment with your most authentic self, with your higher self, and you will truly unlock the unlimited abundance of your own magic. Ultimately, expanding your consciousness really means healing your wounds, your triggers, your traumas, and doing this really deep work so that you can release this energy within you, so that you can be a more clear channel to your highest self and to source energy. The more that you expand, the more potent and powerful your abilities to cast magic and manifest will become. This is a process and a journey, but when you devote yourself to expanding your awareness and your consciousness, you are giving yourself more choices with how you show up in the world. One of the most powerful ways to expand your consciousness is to do your shadow work, which brings us into tip number 9, do your shadow work. The shadow self makes up the parts of our personality and our human nature that have been suppressed and rejected, and they are living now within our unconscious self and are contributing to the way that we act and behave and react and respond. And many times when our shadows are not revealed, healed, and integrated, it can create destructive or out of alignment behavior. For many witches, the shadow work is a really important aspect of our path, and that is because of the witch wound. The witch wound is a collective trauma surrounding the mistreatment of witches and healers and light workers in the past. If you identify as a witch now, or even in a past life, you might carry aspects of this witch wound within your shadow self. So doing the work to reveal this and heal that specific wound as a witch will be really empowering for you on your path. As well, I have been talking about releasing energy from within you so that you can be a more clear channel to your highest self, which is your most purest state of consciousness. And doing the shadow work and revealing your shadows, healing them, learning from them, and integrating them, bringing them into your consciousness will ultimately amplify your magic and your personal power. And it will also amplify your intuition, and it will help you begin to understand the language of your intuition more clearly. Every human on earth has a shadow self, and there are no exceptions. But for witches and light workers, it's really important for us to do our shadow work if we have a mission and purpose to heal others. So for many witches, making the shadow work a priority is really, really important and also necessary on their path. Definitely check out my video called The Ultimate Guide to Shadow Work, where I really break down shadow work, what is the shadow work, and how to do it. I also have a free guide which provides you with many journal shadow work prompts, and that link is in the description box for you below. So if you are ready to begin to do your shadow work, or you are in the thick of it now, those resources might be able to help you. Tip number 10 is to embrace your creativity. Embracing your creativity allows you to experience your magic in new ways. Creativity is also the gateway to your heart space, your inner child, and it really helps you to create the world view that you have. So connecting with your creativity as an adult can really help you to expand your world views, transform your belief systems, and your perspectives. As a beginner witch, we are often really drawn to other people's recipes and ideas, spell work outlines, and other people's craft and way of doing things as a way to learn, which can be really helpful. But the more that we begin to incorporate our own creativity, the more that we can build on our confidence and create our own path, and it also helps us to really own our own originality. Tip number 11 is to try new things. When exploring witchcraft and trying out new practices, try experiencing things that are totally new to you and maybe that you're not even sure of. It's okay to experience things and then realize that maybe they're not for you. Figuring out what works for you and what doesn't will really strengthen your confidence, your craft, your perspectives, and it's just a really great thing to do, is to work in trial and error when you're really starting out with something new. Trying new things is also a really great way to explore and discover yourself and explore and discover your inner world. As a witch, you have the ability to create new worlds, so trying new things and experiencing other people's worlds is a surefire way to figure out what you value and what you want to leave at the door. As well, there are so many different types of witchcraft that people are practicing. There's green witchery, kitchen witchery, shamanic witchcraft. There is just so many different paths that people are taking. It can be really fun to learn what those paths are and experience different aspects of them. One recommendation that I have here is try not to put pressure on yourself to label yourself as one of these different types of witches. Try to release the need to label yourself. Even as you are a beginner witch, you don't even have to label yourself as a witch until it feels right to you. Tip number 12 is that you do not need an altar. As a beginner witch, you simply do not need to have an altar set up in your home that you go to daily or that you practice with regularly. I'm just going to share a personal story here that can maybe bring you some perspective. I've always known that I was a witch, but I didn't start practicing witchcraft until about 10 years ago. At that exact same time, I started going through a really potent spiritual awakening and also a dark night of the soul. I remember feeling like I was supposed to have an altar as a witch, and so I'd set one up, but then I wouldn't go to it and I wouldn't do anything with it, and it really created these feelings of failure within me because I wasn't using an altar, but I was practicing my craft in other ways. So I'm just here to remind you and to tell you that you really don't need an altar to be a witch, but they are really great things to have when you are ready for that aspect of witchcraft. So when you are ready to begin exploring altars, just know that they can be really quite simple or really quite complex. They're all different kinds of altars. A gateway into altars is maybe having seasonal altars. So as you begin to explore the wheel of the year, maybe you set up seasonal temporary altars, and the things that you have on your altars can be really gifted from nature. You do not need to go out and buy all the things that people tend to have on their altars, like athames and vessels and statues and crystals and all of those things. Everything that you need can be gifted and found in nature. So just keep that in mind when you are starting to explore altars. We have arrived at our last tip. Tip number 13 is to trust your intuition. You are an extension of source energy. So all of the answers that you seek are already living within you, and they are often guided to you or gifted to you through your intuition. As a witch, our intuition can really amplify our craft, our understanding of nature, and of ourselves. This is because our intuition is like guidance from our highest self. So your intuition is the highest form of truth, and this can only empower you. So when we can learn to understand our intuition when it is showing up for us, this is so powerful and so healing. Also, our intuition speaks the same language as nature. So when we get to know our intuition and this part of ourselves, we are inherently getting to know nature more deeply. And again, coming back to those terms of unity consciousness, understanding our intuition and getting deeper with ourselves in that way and practicing understanding our intuition can really help us understand the world and the earth and how everything is connected. As we know, witchcraft works with nature spirits, and because our intuition speaks the same language as nature, getting to know this part of ourselves will really deepen our craft and really empower us on this journey. I believe that every single human, whether they are a witch or not, has gifts that are assisted by their intuition. So listening to your intuition and knowing what it says can not only empower you, but it can really help you to unlock your gifts. The light has shifted just as I am finishing this video, so thank you so much for watching, and I hope that these tips and sharing aspects of my own path have inspired you or brought you any kind of new perspective in any kind of way. If you have more to add to this conversation, please leave a comment below. I'd love to learn from you, and I think that other people would love to hear your perspectives as well. If you are interested in learning more about my online witch community, then definitely go check out soulandceline.com and join our online coven so that you can get your free guide to elemental magic. I've also turned this video into a spellbook post, and it has an extra 14th tip, so if you'd like to have that resource on hand, then definitely check out those links below. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!